You take the mean of the A wave in order to get the correct reading. Tell you, it makes you want to go into work. It's amazing what nurses know. And the public don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. I had to provide testimony in Washington. I had a bill in Washington, H.R. 1191, and none of your so-called professional nursing journals would let you know about the bill. I even had trouble with your so-called professional nursing associations with letting you know about the bill. And the bill was one that delineated nurse-patient ratios. And when you have a bill in Washington, you have to go provide testimony. And there were 3 days of testimony in order to get this bill passed. I asked all my friends if they want to go down to Washington and provide testimony, and they all said no. They were all afraid. Figures. So I said, I'll do it. So the 3 days of testimony, most of the days were filled with the head of a pharmaceutical company, because like he would know about nursing, two heads of HMOs, because they would know about nursing. Then we had some people from the American Organization of Nurse Executives, because they would know all about nursing. And then it was me. So then, when I get up to do my spiel, and it's very intimidating in Washington, because you're sitting at a table, and all these people from Congress, they're all up on a ledge, you know? So you're sitting down here, you got a little table, got a microphone, glass of water. So it's like intimidating. So I start telling them, that you have to keep the nurse at the bedside. You can't replace us with unlicensed people. And all of a sudden, some congressman tells me, he said, let me stop you right there. Because whatever you're telling me now is completely opposite than what I've been hearing for the last 3 days. So I said, listen, if you don't want to believe me, O-R-N, maybe you want to believe Dr. Leapy from Harvard University. I say, he completed a study. Dr. Lucian Leapy completed a study in Harvard University, and his study showed that there's anywhere from 90 to 180,000 people die every year from iatrogenic injury. That's hospital-induced injury. And when I told Congress that, they didn't even wince. And I'm like, 180,000 people. That's equivalent to 3 jumbo jet plane crashes every other day. So if you have 3 planes in the air, and you have 300 people on each plane, you have 900 people in the air crashing to their death every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. At the end of the year, you have 180,000 people dead. I'd be thinking you'd be doing something about it. And since I'm on the topic of airplanes, answer me this. Would you get on a plane if you knew they took the licensed mechanics and replaced them with unlicensed mechanics? Would you board that jet? Would you get on that plane? I said, of course you wouldn't. Would you get on a plane if you knew they took the licensed pilots and replaced them with unlicensed pilots? Maybe the guy that used to clean the plane but always wanted to fly. Would you get on that plane? I said, of course you wouldn't. Then how dare you expect the American public to go into a hospital, a very sophisticated, complex environment. I said, there are some days I am operating $500,000 worth of equipment to keep one patient alive. You figure an intrathecal balloon pump is about $250,000. You got a cardiac monitor, $60,000. You got a respirator, about $40,000. You got IV pumps, about $10,000 a piece. You add that up, I am operating $500,000 worth of equipment to keep one patient alive. So how dare you expect the American public to go into a hospital, a very sophisticated, complex environment, life-sustaining medications. I mean, there are some medications I'm hanging that are so potent, I got to drip them micro-drop per kilogram per minute. So how dare you expect the American public to go into a hospital, a very sophisticated, complex environment, life-sustaining medications, and a whole bunch of unlicensed people to operate that stuff? You're going to have far more than 180,000 people dying every year. So then I was mad. I was leaving. I said, you know what? I had enough of this. So I'm getting ready to leave. And so one congressman says to me, just a moment. Maybe what you need to do is maybe you need to explain to me why I need a nurse at my bedside. So I wanted to say to put a pillowcase over your head, but